What's going on, everybody? Coach MccDann here. When discovering new possibilities with attack options in Smash Ultimate, learning the appropriate way to how to use them is also a big factor. Today, we'll be discussing out-of-shield options and what we can do to make use of them in our play. When learning about how to do out-of-shield options, it's important to recognize a key difference in doing an out-of-shield option and letting go of shield and doing an attack. Many new and even intermediate players view both of those options as similar, but the truth is that isn't the case at all actually. Learning how to utilize out-of-shield options allows for easier punishments to be performed against opponents' aggressive options, punish an opponent's overextending, and usually creates space for your character to reset neutral position. An out-of-shield option is performed when a player decides to execute an attack while still holding shield. But other out-of-shield options require you to let go of shield before performing them first. Some moves like nair and up air can be done while holding your shield and doing the desired attack. Usually there's a best option that is most optimal for your character, so I recommend watching VODs of your character to learn more about what options they use and why. In order for you to have a better understanding, let's get you into a warm-up. Perform 25 out-of-shield options of the same attack, like neutral air or up smash, and notice if you let go of shield before making the attack. Recognize the differences and make sure to keep note of what moves you can do directly out of shield. When evaluating out-of-shield options, there's usually amazing benefits that come from using your character's best options out of shield. These options include neutral air, up air, back air, grab, up smash, up special, down special, and side special. And while these are all available options that any character can do, only few really apply to your character that you play optimally, as each character in Smash Ultimate is so vastly different. In order for you to identify what out-of-shield options is best for your character, it's usually good to practice to use one of your quickest actionable moves. Some of you might know what those moves might be, but for those that question what that move is, this would be a good time to hop into training mode and experiment with these options yourself to find out what your character is capable of. Attempt to do each of the attack options we've gone over 3 times and see if your character is capable of that attack out of shield. Discover what your best out of shield option is by observing VODs of your character online as well. Oftentimes, players could be attacking with options out of shield, but don't exactly always get the most benefit from attacking all the time, every single time. This is where spot dodging comes into play. Players also have the ability to spot dodge an upcoming attack from an opponent, something that not too many aggressive players know how to do, or if you're an opponent, how to deal with it. The ability to roll is also an option, but do keep in mind that it can leave you vulnerable to the attacks when you're mid-roll. This leaves it to be a lesser option from most out-of-shield options. When dealing with opponents that do out-of-shield options themselves, it could be difficult to combat against when you're the player making the most attacks on an opponent. Sometimes a player can understand that you play aggressively and wait for you to land on their shield with an attack. This is an optimal time to use an out-of-shield option to gain damage, reset neutral, or even sometimes set up for a punish that could even take a stock. So definitely keep that in mind when playing. If you ever wondered why players are able to hit you every time you attempt to make an attack, keep in mind if they shield your attack and immediately attack with an out-of-shield option after, as this is direct counterplay to any type of aggression that might not even be necessary coming from you. Alright, now that we've gone over the out-of-shield options and what they're capable of, now is the time to train yourself to utilize them properly. Play 3 to 5 games with a friend or family member, or set a CPU to a level you're comfortable with, and strictly focus on performing out-of-shield options when the opportunity becomes available. Not only will this build your knowledge on when and when not to utilize them, but also gives you insight on what moves work best with your character in certain situations.